Hello, Kapil. Thank you. And I have a problem, and that is that I'm constantly seeking some shard of information that I hope will take me somewhere. And I think the reason behind this is because although I understand that from a logical level, and I've, after a year, I feel like I have a decent understanding that instruction is fragmented and rarely takes you where you want to go, if never. But there's been these small instances, for example, in golf. Not that I'm an excellent golfer by any means. I refuse to read or listen to instruction or coaches or anything. And over time, my handicap stayed the same. It never changed. And then one day I golfed with a friend who was better than myself, and he pointed out, it's something that you've talked about. And he said, you're swinging at the ball. And it was very little. And then when I went and golfed the next day without him, shaved 5 off my handicap, and he was right. Like, what he was saying was true, and it made a difference. And I think because there's been small moments like that where I've heard some truth from somebody, and it helped. It keeps me on the hook, so I'm constantly, like, day in and day out, almost 24/7, combing through information, searching for shards of truth. But it's exhausting, and it doesn't lead me to greatness. It's small, silly things, but
and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anything. I mean, if it once again, I have said before, if it's something menial, it's prescriptions work fine. If you want to learn how to tie your shoe, you can get a prescription for that. If you want to know how to hammer a nail, you can get a prescription. Turn on a computer, you get a prescription for that. So if someone told you that don't swing at the ball, okay, I mean, that's fine. But if someone wants something substantial, if somebody wants something that is lasting, if somebody wants something that is significant in the domain of life, in the domain of mind, in the domain of arriving at any semblance of permanence or consistency, or reproducibility, be it in life or their craft or sports, business, whatever it may be, then prescriptions don't have the bandwidth for that. Prescriptions can take you to the very, very, very minimal place. It's like a minimum wage type place. You can be taught how to flip a burger, so there is utility for it, but everything that I talk about is from a different place. Anyone who comes to my domain has to understand from the very outset that the things that I talk about are from the level of ultimate, legend, world class, becoming a master of life, sports, business, whatever it is. So I come from there. And because I live in that domain, then everything that I say is colored by my coming from there. I don't come from the tie your shoe and turn on the computer and hammer a nail. And if someone does come from there, then it would make sense why they would talk about prescriptions. The problem is that everyone's talking about whether they want to get you to world class or hammer a nail. So in the world today, wherever you go, there's grass and pavement. Wherever you go, anywhere you go in the world, there's grass and pavement. or dirt or rocks or gravel. Okay. It's the same way with prescriptions. That literally is all there is. There's not this part of the world who prescribes and this part of the world who doesn't. There's not these coaches who prescribed and these types of coaches who don't. There is no separation. Every last one, Buddha prescribed. I mean, there's nobody who doesn't, not only doesn't not do it, there's nobody whose even foundation isn't based upon. It isn't a tool. That's the only tool they have. So if you went to every so-called coach and took away their prescriptions, they'd be mum. They had nothing to do. They had nothing to say. Nothing. Zero. It would be over. Their career would be finished. Nothing would exist. And that tells you just how dependent and just how saturated and just how ubiquitous prescriptions are in the world. And in fact, they are the only thing that exists in the world, in every field, from top to bottom, from the highest levels to the lowest level, from the far east to the far west. There is no one, not a single person. Now you have these copycat accounts who copy my work, basically. It's basically plagiarism that have shown up and they talk on their site. It's not about prescriptions. I'm not going to prescribe to you. So you have these things popping up left and right. I've been informed of all these websites people are creating and coaching services they're creating, and they're talking about no prescriptions. Obviously, they're going to fold because they have no. There isn't the. It's like taking a plant and then taking it from. It's like taking a palm from a tropical climate and then replanting it in Alaska. You can do it. It's not going to last because there's no foundation. There's no lifelong devotion. There's no once you till away the first quarter inch of soil, there's nothing. So that's what you have found. And so there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. I learned a tip and the tip helped. Sure, tips can help. Are they going to take you somewhere? No, but maybe it helps you to some degree, and you got happy by the way in which it helps you, and that's perfectly fine. I didn't say prescriptions don't help. I have consistently said they help with menial things, but the message is often lost because it is a default setting that one should understand when they enter my domain, that everything that I say is from the level of world classness and greatness and legendary status and mastery. And therefore, if that isn't understood, then one is going to say, well, I found a tip and the tip helped me, and fine, it didn't last, but it helped me some. Is there something wrong? What's wrong with that? And the answer is nothing. But I'm not talking about tying shoes, turning on computers, and hammering nails.
And my question isn't that that helped me, so is it fine if I pursue it? Like
no, that's not your question. Your question is because the tip did help you, that keeps you addicted to looking for more tips, which might help you. I know your question. I understand.